In all the years I've been helping people buy and sell real estate, I've seen many people take actions that can ultimately make their real estate process much more challenging for them. It's clear that these actions may not be intentional. In most cases, the home buyer and even the seller actually take these actions based on what they feel may be beneficial, when in fact, some of these actions can be harmful. Today, I'm focusing on home buyers and covering part one of a two-part series titled The Top 10 Mistakes Made by Home Buyers. And I'm doing it right now on your Monday Morning Markus Minute. I'm not covering these mistakes in any particular order. My goal with this video is to help guide home buyers in a manner that will help you have the best possible outcome and ultimately the home of your dreams. Now let's get started. The first mistake I want to cover is the mistake of not working with a professional lender. I always recommend working with a local, reputable, professional lender, not a call center. Now, I know you've seen TV commercials and internet ads with 1-800-GET-PRE-APPROVED-NOW phone numbers, but after working with some of these call centers and internet-based lenders and facing multiple challenges, some of which lead to buyers damaging their credit scores and not being able to close on their new house, I am now convinced more than ever that a local, reputable, and professional lender is the best way to go. Now, for those of you who have never worked with a lender before, here's what you can expect. The lender's going to take an application, whether it's in person, over the phone, or online. They're going to check your credit, typically looking at your TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax credit scores. They're going to review your debt-to-income ratio, income, assets, and more, depending on your specific situation. Then they're going to determine how much money they'll be able to lend you for the purpose of buying a house, whether it's your primary residence, a secondary home, or maybe an investment property. Once this process is complete, the lender will issue a pre-approval letter showing how much house you're pre-approved to buy. Although working with a lender may seem intimidating and sound challenging, it's really very simple, especially when working with a local, reputable, and professional lender. As someone who's personally worked as a mortgage loan originator, I've learned what to look for and what to watch out for, and would be more than happy to help guide you in the right direction. By the way, if you're using my 5-step home buying process guide and you've made it to this point, then you're finished with step 1 and ready to move to step 2. Now, the second common mistake many home buyers make is waiting until you have the perfect credit score to buy a home. This brings up the question, what is the perfect credit score? Now, in most cases, mortgage lenders look at your FICO credit scores from TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, which all use credit models that range from 300 to 850. Now, although 850 is a perfect credit score, the majority of Americans have credit scores less than 800. In fact, according to FICO, 76.7% of Americans have credit scores less than 800. If a perfect credit score was required to buy a house, very few people would ever have a chance at home ownership. Credit scores are super important to lenders when determining if a person qualifies for a mortgage. Now, according to the CFPB, or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, your credit score can be defined as a number that's used to predict how likely you are to pay back a loan on time. I like to use this analogy. If you loan a friend $1,000, you want to be sure your friend can pay you back, right? A mortgage lender wants to be paid back also, which is why your credit score is a consideration when determining if and how much they're willing to loan you. This is where the type of financing comes into play. If you're planning to move forward with a conventional loan, the minimum credit score requirement is typically about 620. But what about all the home buyers with credit scores less than 620? The FHA, or the Federal Housing Authority, has made it possible for them to obtain a mortgage also, with credit scores dipping as low as 500. Now, if you're a veteran, you may qualify for a VA loan which has no minimum credit score requirement. However, the lender may have their own requirements, which is typically around 580. Now, USDA also has no minimum credit score requirements, but in most cases, lenders set their requirements around 640. When talking with your mortgage loan originator, be sure to ask them to explain the differences between these different finance options and their requirements. Now, don't get me wrong, obtaining and maintaining a high credit score is a good thing, But don't be so focused on increasing your credit scores that you pass up great home ownership possibilities and opportunities. Now, this may be a great time to invite you to click the like button if you appreciate the information in this video. I'd also love it if you would subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you can be notified whenever new content is posted. We really appreciate your support. Now, on to mistake number 3. The third mistake I've seen time and time again is when a home buyer is shopping for a unicorn. Here's what I mean by that. They're looking for the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood, on the perfect street, in the perfect school district, with the perfect neighbors, and just down the road from the perfect grocery store. And the perfect shopping, which just so happens to be around the corner from the perfect church with the perfect pastor and the perfect congregation who sing the perfect songs about the only one who is and ever has been truly perfect. The fact of the matter is, if this perfect house truly existed and you were really able to find your unicorn, there's a very likely chance no one would be able to afford it. No matter how hard you look, you will never find a house that is truly perfect in every way. Instead, I recommend to my clients to shop for a house that has what you need in the area where you need it to be, without that long list of wants. And this brings us to the fourth common mistake made by homeowners: shopping without a must-have list. In my buyer-client consultations, I tend to ask a lot of questions for several different reasons. First of all, I want to get to know my clients better so that we can start building trust sooner and I get a good idea of what truly matters to them. From there, I start constructing a must-have list for each one of my buyer clients. Now, these must-haves may include the number of bedrooms and bathrooms they need. Maybe they need a home office. Maybe they need level living instead of a house with a ton of stairs and multiple levels. I've had clients who have a lot of big toys and need extra garage spaces. I've also been blessed and had the opportunity to work with a lot of families who are focused on being in a specific school district. It's amenities and features like these that are added to our must-have list. Now, things that should not be included on the must-have list include things like updates and modern finishes, paint versus wallpaper, and even hardwood floors versus carpet. These are all things that can change over time. For example, I just showed a house yesterday and my client made a comment about how she doesn't care much for the color of the kitchen cabinets. But then she continued and recognized that something as simple as color can be changed with paints, stains, and a little elbow grease. The kitchen still had a great layout with a lot of countertop space and a ton of cabinets. See, these are the things that matter most. Something else that should not be included on your must-have list is an open floor plan. This one sometimes is a little challenging to work through, especially when it seems like every house you look at has a boxy floor plan. Keep in mind that you're going to make changes over time to make your house better for you and your situation. Sometimes this may include things like moving walls, or maybe the house you buy doesn't have a fence, but you need it to keep Fido in the backyard. A fenced-in backyard is nice to have, but shouldn't be a deal killer when the house checks off all the other boxes. The fifth mistake I see a lot of home buyers make is not planning ahead. Now, I'm not talking about planning what you're going to wear on closing day, or planning how you're going to convince your buddy to help you move. Instead, I'm talking about planning for life's challenges and adventures. For example, I've worked with clients who are planning to make career changes that may have required them to work from home. So when looking for a house, we were sure to find them properties that would have a space that could be used as a home office. I've also worked with clients who had a feeling their parents may be moving in with them one day, so we were sure to look at properties that had separate living quarters. One of my favorite stories was that of a client who planned to get married and have a beautiful family. Instead of looking for a house that met his current needs, we looked for properties that would be beneficial for both him and his family in the future. In fact, we set up a time for him to propose to his girlfriend in the house before closing on it. She was there to take a look at this beautiful house and left the house engaged to be married. Since then, they were married and have beautiful children, and they've been living to the fullest because he took the extra effort and planned ahead. Now, in some cases, you may not know what to plan for. That's when it's best to give me a call so that I can help you take the steps necessary to homeownership, and not just any homeownership, but homeownership that will not only benefit you now, but in your future also. You're welcome to call or text me at 816-332-4600. 1116. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is a two-part series. When you subscribe to my channel, be sure to click the notification bell so that you're notified and you won't miss when we upload part 2 of the top 10 mistakes made by home buyers. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.